All right. Big welcome back, everyone. This is part 3 of how to step into future focused leadership so that your business can grow and thrive in the third quarter of 2024 and beyond. If this is your very first time joining one of my live streams, my name is Kelly Roach. I am the founder of the Business Advisory and 5 other companies in the online space. We're multi-time Inc. 5000 winners. We were one of the first female-led debt-free companies to eclipse the 8-figure mark in the online space. And we have been front row, front seat, helping business owners like you to build 7- and 8-figure businesses since 2012. So excited to be here with you all. Come say hello in the chat as you join. Can't wait to get into today's conversation. I'm going to do just a 5-minute recap of a little bit of what we've been working on and talking about over the last couple of days. So the first thing is if you have not completed the Q3 health check for your business, that is a do not miss. You're going to want to go ahead and actually do that right now while we're live, because all of this is going to make a whole lot more sense and make a much bigger difference for you if you complete the health check. So I'm going to ask the team if we could go ahead and throw that up on the screen. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. And you can also see that that is now in the chat there for you. So if you haven't completed the health check, what this is going to do for you is it's going to take you through a series of 20 questions, and it's going to allow you to get clear on what are the focus areas that you really need to put energy around to get your business working. And it's going to give you really a strong direction in your business in terms of, oh, okay, this is the low-lying fruit that I need to capitalize on that's going to allow my business to move forward in the third quarter. So if you haven't completed that, go ahead and do that now. Once you complete the health check, not only are you going to get a Loom video from our team with feedback based on what you submitted, but you're also going to be eligible to apply for a call with one of our strategists absolutely for free to get feedback and direction on how to implement the feedback that you got from doing the health check and the things that you're learning here in this series. Okay, so absolutely nothing to lose there. You're getting feedback from one of our strategists that people invest very, very large sums of money to work with and to get feedback from every day. You're being given the opportunity to apply to have a conversation absolutely free when you complete the health check today. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that now. If you have done that, let me know in the chat now. So if you have completed the health check, go ahead and comment done in the chat now so that I know that you're all set and you are ready to rock in today's session. I have some great stuff planned that I want to cover with you all today. Let me know, comment done in the chat if you have completed the health check and you're ready to move to next steps. Just going to give everybody a second here. Okay. All right. I'm going to give everybody a moment. Okay. Rhonda's done. Krista's done. Genji is done. Okay, excellent. Very good. Okay. So if you have not completed it, we're going to put the link in the chat again. You can see that it is up on the screen right now. You're definitely going to want to go ahead and do that. I don't know why my camera is really dark right now. When we pull up the screen in just a minute, I'm going to see if I can flip another light on for you guys so you can actually see me. But yes, okay, perfect. So go ahead and complete that. So let's just dial things back before we move forward. And Krista, if you could go ahead and pull our workbook up on the screen, that would be fantastic. Those of you that have been with us over the last couple of days and are, kind of going through what we've been covering, let's scroll back up to the first page, if you don't mind there, Krista. We have talked over the last couple of days about a couple really important things, right? So we talked about the shift of the online space and a lot of the industries that maybe you all are in, moving from startup to growth to mature. And if you see the workbook here, and for anyone that needs the workbook, you can just comment in the chat, say need the workbook. We'll go ahead and send that to you. For anyone that needs the workbook, we'll get that over to you. But what we talked about in the first session is that in a mature market, you need a very different growth strategy because people buy differently, people interact with brands differently, people are using different buying criteria. There's a lot of shifts going on, right? And part of what has been happening over the last, year and a half is there's been a pretty big shake-off period. We've seen a lot of businesses close. And no doubt that there's a combination of both economic factors as well as factors related to the shift to mature in the market that a lot of businesses are operating in. Some of the signs of a business moving into a mature market is that growth slows down, things stabilize a bit, market saturation explodes, right? Which I think all of you have experienced that. And there's definitely heightened competition, right? Because in a lot of ways, products are commoditized because now they're not seen as rare, they're not seen as unique, they're seen as, well, me, the consumer, I have 1,000 choices of service providers. I have 1,000 choices of coaches. I have 1,000 choices of courses to buy. I have 1,000 different people that I could work with in insert your industry, insert your product, right? And this is what a lot of people are thinking and feeling. Now, I think a lot of people have kind of confused the shift of the market into a more mature space with whether or not their market is growing. And this is where a future focused leader has to be able to zoom out and get away from just the micro details of what they're feeling or seeing every single day and really look at the bigger picture of the markets, right? And this is where we started the conversation yesterday, talking about the fact that, e-learning is expected to top $1 trillion in revenue by 2030. And the coaching and consulting space is expected to surpass 11.7 billion in market size into 2032. Now, this is really important for you to know because it's crucial that when you're thinking about your growth strategy and when you're thinking about how you're going to show up and lead in this market, that you understand that just because market conditions are changing doesn't mean you can't grow. Okay. So many business owners are in a complete panic right now, responding to the changes in the market. And they assume that they need to struggle and that they need to, be just thinking about whether or not they're going to make it in business. And they think everything is slowing down or that their market is collapsing. I don't know how many thousands of posts I've seen on social media. Coaching is dead. Courses are dead. All of these things. We know that's false. Right? We're all smart enough to know that that's false. But obviously there's a lot of people in both of these spaces that are currently struggling. And what I always say is that in order to win the game, you need to know the rules of the game. Otherwise, you can't play to win. Okay. So you have to know the rules of the game. Right. And so we started this conversation over the last couple of days talking about what do you do when a market moves into mature. And we talked about streamlining operations, doing effective cost management, doing effective cost management, differentiating your product, your service, your program, right? We talked about all different ways to differentiate. We talked about all different ways that you can innovate. We're going to talk more about that today. And of course, niching down. Now, I know that for a lot of people sitting here, you hear these things and you're like, okay, I get that that's what I'm supposed to do, but like, what exactly do I do? And that's why we're offering you a free call with our strategy team. We understand, like, I'm giving you the blueprint. I'm giving you kind of the high points of what you need to look at and think about. But the truth is this is not a copy and paste environment that we're working in. I can't tell you on a live stream with hundreds of people what your pricing should be for your product in your industry. You need to actually have a one-to-one conversation with someone that can look at the scope of the landscape that you're in, who you're serving, what your strategy is, what your price point is, what your value ladder is, and give you some real recommendations, right? So if you would like to book a call with our strategy team, you can comment book a call on this feed at any time. Also, I'm going to have Krista go ahead and throw that up in the chat there. So we'll put that right on the screen there. You can see, you can go to kellyroachcoaching.com/call, copy and paste the full link so that you can actually get to the page. But you can apply to book a call with our strategy team there at any time. And this is going to help you take the things that I'm teaching this week and really distill them down to a customized way to approach these things in your own business. Okay. All right. So we talked about streamlining operations. We talked about cost management. We talked about differentiation, and we talked about niching down. We talked also about all different ways that you can differentiate. And I gave you specific examples. And for those of you that missed session 1 or session 2, definitely make sure you catch up on the replays. We'll share them all on a page for you to make it really simple and easy to go ahead and do that. But today we're going to dig into the 4th quadrant. So we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about the first 3 quadrants. If we can just scroll down there, that would be amazing. We talked yesterday about pricing. We talked about offer differentiation, and we talked about brand preference. If you missed yesterday's session, make sure you go back and watch the replay. This is do not miss stuff. You can't get it anywhere else. No one else is having this conversation, and you're going to need it. You're going to need to do these things if you want to play to win in this market. And what I want to keep emphasizing for you all is, regardless of what you see out there, or regardless of what you've been experiencing, the market is going to continue to grow. Why not win? Why not win? Right? But everyone has to realign their strategy. There is no one that is going to be able to continue doing what they have been doing and still see growth the way that they were growing. No one. That is why everyone that you can look at in the online space right now is making changes to what they're doing in some way, shape, or form. Why? Because you cannot replicate the results that you are getting in a growth market, in a mature market, and layer on top of that the economic conditions that we have. You just have to adjust. And this is really good news, because when you learn how to do this, you're developing the skills of how to build and lead a company over the long term in different economic cycles and in different phases of market maturity, which is essential in order to stay in business for the long term. So you guys got this. You're here to play to win. You are going to grow your businesses. You are going to apply the things that we're talking about here, and you're going to make it happen. So remember, at any time in this series, you can comment, book a call on the feed, or you can follow the link there, and you can go ahead and get yourself on the phone with a strategist to customize what I'm talking about. Okay. So let's talk about innovation. What I said yesterday is I'm going to talk about kind of 10 different areas that you can think about innovation in your business in today's market that will help you to sell more. And that's really what you're here to talk about today, right? Pretty much everyone needs to answer the question, how am I going to sell more in the market of today? Right. And so definitely get your pen and let's take some notes. Let's start with pricing. Pricing model is really important. And we did talk about pricing yesterday. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more here. right? When you are in a mature market where people are very much commoditizing what you are doing, which I know no one wants to hear that and no one wants to think that, but the truth of the matter is that's exactly what happens when a market becomes more mature. It doesn't feel special and unique anymore. People feel like they have thousands of options. So they demand more for less, right? Which means that when you think about pricing, your number one objective is that you want to get people to say yes, and you want to get more people to come into your world as paying customers. And then you're going to upsell them on the back end. I talked about this yesterday. I want to bring us back to this again. So, this means that you can look at pricing through a lot of different lenses. Maybe in the past, you went to market primarily with your high ticket offer. Now, maybe you'll go to market with your mid ticket offer. For some of you, maybe you only had a 3-pay installment plan in the past. Maybe you break that down and now it's a 6-pay installment in the past. Maybe you had even payments over 12 months. Now, maybe you have someone pay a higher installment at the beginning, and then it's lower monthly payments that will be easier for someone to sustain over time. Maybe you had a big program with many, many components to it. Maybe you break out one or two components of that program and you charge less for it, but it's a lighter lift for you and it's an easier bar to hop over for them. There are endless ways that you can take that Rubik's Cube and you can look at how have you been going to market and what adjustments do you need to make to get more people saying yes to becoming your paying customer so that you can wow them, so that you can then get them in your ecosystem and then upsell them on the back end. No matter what your price point is, you can get people in the door that are at different levels. And if you do a good job of delivering on your promise, then you can segment those customers and put a specific strategy in place to move them up the pricing ladder. If you want to sell more of your highest price product and you want to actually climb the ladder, you want to charge more for what you're doing, you want to either A, focus very, very heavily on up leveling the avatar that you current have in the market that you're, working with already, or you want to add a new segment of your market. We talked earlier about need-based differentiation. You can add a segment of your market where you are really focused on a specialized segment of the population, specifically for CFOs, specifically for owners of a medical practice, specifically for ABCXYZ, right? You will need to think about need-based differentiation and segmentation to break into a market that you're not in, or up level the market that you already have, expand more of the people that are in that top tier. A lot of those people that maybe were in the lower end of buying your high ticket product, they're now going to be mid ticket or low ticket buyers. They're not going to be buying your high ticket product, which means you have to fill your funnel with more people that are actually going to be viable long-term customers for your high ticket product today in order to be able to keep growing at the same rate that you have been. Now, we all know that building a new market and building a new audience at a higher level can be expensive and time consuming. And so I'm not recommending don't do it. I'm recommending make sure that as you do it, that you have a complementary plan that is going to give you the time that you need to build additional audience or that new segment of your audience that is going to allow you to accelerate the process of selling your high ticket offer. Okay. So when we talk about pricing, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this. I will marry this with the second biggest thing from an innovation standpoint, which is how you're making daily sales. It can be hard outside of a launch when you have rolling admission on a high ticket product to create the urgency to make sales on a daily basis. That's why launching works so well. Launching gives people a reason to buy now. Okay. And so you may need to really innovate around what you're selling on a daily basis outside of that flagship that you're going to sell in your launches so that you have dollars coming in the door every single day. For a lot of you that are watching this video today, this is the number one thing that you have to change about how you run your business is that you have to look at what is it that you are selling every single day? And how does that fit with the landscape and the market of today? And how do you need to adjust the way that your business is being run and how you are using your staff in order to be able to make sales on a daily basis? Okay? So a lot of people maybe had a long runway, they would do a launch, not a lot of sales in between, long runway, do a launch, not a lot of sales in between. That model will not work well in this environment of today. It absolutely will not because it is way too unpredictable in the market. You need to have products that you can sell on a daily basis every single day to get cash in the door. And then you're going to still have your launches, but you need to be aware with market conditions shifting the way that they are, that if you're selling a high ticket in your launch, most of those sales are going to be organic inner circle people that have been warmed up really, really well over a period of months already, or they may be a smaller group of sales that you make, which is why it's so important to innovate around the way that you're structuring your entire business around the ability to make daily sales in between launches. Okay. I want to recommend everyone here, if you're watching this video today, there is not a person watching this video, whether live or on the replay, that would not benefit from having a strategy conversation with our team. So if you're watching this video right now, I recommend and I invite you to book a time to have a conversation with our team about how you can accelerate your sales and your growth in the third quarter of the year. The link is right there on the screen. It's in the chat. And that's going to give you opportunity to take everything that you're learning from what I'm sharing here, customizing it for your business, and really making some decisions on the spot right away about how you can kick your business into high gear and see that growth plan happening. Okay. So we talked about pricing model. We talked about daily sales. Definitely payment plans, right? So when you think about payment plans, you may look at the length of payments that people have. You may look at a higher payment at the beginning of the relationship and then lower installments, right? You may look at how are you selling products where you're putting a date in the future, but you can break down installments that people can pay between now and then. I love things where you can say, you're going to do this special IP experience or this specialized workshop or this specialized certification or whatever the case, schedule it 3 months out, sell into it every single day. Every single day you can sell into it and people can have the choice of paying in full or paying installments leading up to it. So the other thing is you have to keep in mind that in a market like where we are today, something that may have seemed like a fairly small line item to people 6 months, a year ago, might feel like a really big line item to them today. And so things that maybe you didn't have installment plans around before, you may want to have an installment plan. And things that had short installment plans before, you may want to extend installment plans because people are looking for accessibility, they're looking for convenience, and they're having a much harder time committing and making the decision to invest in things that feel like a big risk or a big commitment. And it's why you've seen the sales cycle has slowed with high ticket products a lot because people are simply taking longer to think about and make the decision and commit to high ticket products. Okay. So I'm going to pause there for a quick moment. What questions do you have? Are there any concepts that I've mentioned that you want me to unpack further? Let me know. Again, I want to invite you to go ahead and book your call now with the business advisory team so that they can give you specific strategies and key takeaways that you can implement right away to unlock growth in your business and start seeing your sales accelerate. Okay. So again, the link is right there on the screen. It's also in the chat. And I'm happy to answer questions live. So feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat and I am happy to answer them for you. Okay. All right. We talked about pricing. We talked about payment plans. We talked about your daily sales action plan and making sure that you have products that are going to be sufficient to be able to get those yeses every single day to rotate into a daily sales strategy. Okay. And then I want to talk a little bit about lead generation tools. So, this is another one. No, I would not extend payment plans past the date of the actual program. I think it's really hard to collect on that. So I would still try to keep the payment plans within the length of the actual program. Yeah. But you can play with the amounts and the timelines and the spacing and all of that to try and, make that more viable for people. Okay. I saw there was one other question there. The other thing that I would say, let's talk about lead generation tools, right? And this is one of the things in the health check. Do you have a steady stream of qualified leads coming in? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, book a call with the business advisory team. Book a conversation to talk about what your lead gen strategy is. Let's be honest, a lot of the lead generation tools that you were probably using in the last couple of years have slowed or are not working the same way or are far more expensive than they were. What I talked about yesterday about brand preference is, you're going to rely significantly on your organic ecosystem for sales in the remainder of 2024. Advertising is amazing and it's important, but it's going to have a longer turnaround, right? And so you have to develop lead generation tools that work, lead generation tools that are going to play in the market of today. So look at what you're doing from a lead generation standpoint and ask yourself, do you have tools that you are using that are producing new leads? Is your email list growing every single day? If the answer is no, that is a major problem because you're going to be relying on your own internal ecosystem for the majority of your sales. And the big thing about that is you have to make sure that you're not stagnating and just selling to the same people over and over again, because then obviously your sales are going to stall out, right? So there has to be just a continual flow there. If you're just starting out, is a beta group over a shorter period of time the best next step? I mean, you can do a beta group. You can also do like a pilot or a founding members program. I don't think you need to do like an unpaid beta group, but I think you could definitely do a founding members with a discounted rate, and that's a model that works very well. Do we have some other questions there? Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, is your email list growing every day? Very simple question. If the answer is yes, how do you multiply and duplicate that? If the answer is no, what do you need to do to update your tools that you're using for lead generation, your opt ins? Maybe your launch topic needs to be refreshed. Maybe your newsletter name needs to be refreshed. Are you marketing your newsletter on a weekly basis? This is one of the most important things to be doing right now, is to getting new people on your newsletter every single day from social media, because the majority of your sales in this market are going to come from your inner circle. You need people that are consuming your content every week, that are opening your newsletter, that are listening to your podcast, that are in that inner circle. This is going to be huge. And growing that inner circle every single day is essential in order to make sure that your sales don't stall out. Okay. So we talked about pricing, we talked about payment plans, talked about daily sales, we talked about lead generation tools, your call booking strategy. Again, for those of you who have gone through the health check, which if you haven't, go ahead and do that now. So guys, can we pull the health check back up on the screen? If we can pull the health check back up on the screen, that would be great. Yes. If you have not completed the health check, why not? Do it now. There's no strings attached. All it is it's going to give you information about the current state of affairs in your business, and it's going to give you clarity about what steps you need to take to get your business growing more quickly. So this is something that you can just pop up another screen, and while we're sitting here live, while we're going through this live stream, go ahead and complete that check. It'll take you like 5 to 7 minutes, and it's really going to give you some great clarity in your business. It's going to point you to the things that you need to focus on. many of which I'm talking about now, but even more so. Okay, so call booking strategy. In our programs, we teach something called the 10 steps to booking your calendar with consults. Our objective is that you have something that is happening in the market every single day that is going to be booking calls, right? That is going to be booking calls. And so you want to make sure that you are executing a strategy that works, that is yielding you qualified call bookings every single day. Okay. And so again, yes. I consider high ticket like 15,000 and above. So I would say 15,000 and above, 12K and above, you're getting into people that are thinking in terms of booking high ticket and buying high ticket. Yeah. A lot of our clients and we are definitely seeing mid ticket scaling much more quickly than high ticket, but we're having a lot of success upselling from the mid ticket internally to the high ticket on the back end of the business. So I definitely would look about that and think about that. How do I suggest people that are not in the e-teaching business coaching innovate? Yeah, I mean, definitely real estate. It's all about social media now. So it's all about you visually doing video walkthroughs of the properties, using drone footage, getting your own like mini drone, leveraging daily stories, live streaming, just being super visible, building your brand, networking and collabing with other people in the community and that do what you do or do something related to what you do, and making sure that you're getting introductions to build your network of new people, for example, that are coming into the area. So it's just going to be expanding your network, leveraging social media, really getting away from kind of the old school methods that have like stalled out and really looking at how are you leveraging the internet superhighway, right, of online marketing for growth. Okay, I'm just looking at some of the things. The upsell process from mid ticket to high ticket. So, a couple things. We segment every customer that comes into any one of my companies for what their growth path with us should be. So, anyone that's coming into any one of my companies is immediately going to be segmented into what is the correct growth path for this person. For some people, they're in the one thing that they're in, and that's the only thing that they're going to be in. But for a lot of people, there are multiple products in our product suite that they're going to be a fit for. And so, whether someone comes in and they're spending $50 or whether someone comes in and they're spending $85,000, we are building a personalized relationship with that person. Someone on our team, somewhere in one of the companies, is building a personalized relationship with that person and beginning to have conversations with them about what their path within our organization is going to be. Okay. So segmentation is your first step. Relationship building is your second step. And then invitation to opportunity is your third step. And so those three steps should be a part of every single customer that you bring in for any product that you have, whether it's a little impulse buy product like we were talking about yesterday, $500. It's an impulse buy product, whether it's a mid-ticket product, it's a high-ticket product, all the way up and all the way down. You are segmenting, you are relationship building, and then you're inviting. The inviting can happen in one-to-one calls. A lot of our team books one-to-one calls with our own customers to talk to them about and to invite them to take their next step in our ecosystem. We also do a lot of inviting people that are already in one product to come to a launch of another product that we're selling. Okay. So I would say just making sure you're going through those three steps with every single customer, no matter what they buy. So it's going to be segment, relationship build, and invite. Those are the three steps. Okay. Yeah, you can definitely 10 to 20x that response rate. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of automating lead gen in that way. We have team members across all 6 of my companies that are in the DMs having real conversations with people every single day. And I definitely feel like you can get a 20x, return on that effort. Yes, there's some man hours in it, but it's a direct ROI. It is a direct sales mechanism for your business. hmm okay, great questions. You can keep them coming. I love the questions. It's a lot more fun when we can chat back and forth that way. Again, if you haven't taken the health check, go ahead and just throw up another tab on your computer now. Just click that link that you see on the screen and take the health check. You're going to be so clear after you go through this. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I was so in my head trying to figure out how I'm going to grow my business in the third quarter. And here are all these things right in front of me right now that I can do today that can be getting me big results. Okay, so a little bit of a little mindset shift, a little perspective shift, and you're going to see like, oh my gosh, it's all right there, right? And no matter what is going on, you have to keep reminding yourself that the market is going where it's going, right? E-learning, coaching, consulting. You can look up your own industry or your own market, and you can look at the growth trajectory between now and 2030 to see, kind of what things are going to look like. But I promise you, in the vast majority of niches and spaces that you all are in, your market is going to continue to have explosive growth. But it does not mean that the way the market operates is going to look the same as it did in a growth market when we talk about phase of maturity. So you have to take very seriously everything that we talked about these last couple of days, because you have to adjust your strategy. It's not going to mean that you can't grow. It means that if you continue to conduct business in the same way that you did in a growth market, in a mature market, you're most likely going to struggle, right? And so all of you have this intel now. You have this intel. Now it's up to you to go out and to adjust your strategy to match the market that you're operating in. Okay. You have to understand that when a consumer has invested in many products, programs, and services in your space before, and they are now buying based on completely different criteria, your business has to show up and has to interact with them in a different way in order to get the same outcome that you are getting with very different behaviors in a different type of market. Okay. Okay. Call booking strategy. So simple, right? What are you doing every single day to get new calls booked for your sales team? What is your sales team doing every single day to get calls booked for themselves? Those of you that have trained with me in the past, you have heard about the 10 steps to booking your calendar with consults. Making sure that you have an updated strategy that you are using where every single day there's a call booking strategy. Okay. It can be as simple as doing something like what we are doing right now, right? Many of you are literally booking calls with my team as we're having these conversations. Okay. So it can be as simple as doing a live stream and teaching. And as you're teaching, inviting people. But what is the strategy each week coming into the week to get the number of calls booked for high ticket closes that your team will need in order to hit your growth objective, right? What's really cool about this is when you're making daily sales into mid ticket products or into impulse buy products, you now don't need to do as many sales calls because you can build a relationship digitally in the DMs and in the programs that you have with those people, and you can upsell them on the back end without having to do as many external sales calls, which actually significantly lightens the load for you and for the team. So think about that as well. Okay. But innovating around what were you doing to drive your call booking strategy? What do you need to do now? Right? Content. We talked a little bit about content yesterday. All the rage for the last couple of years has been short form, short form, short form. It's been about edutainment. It's about reels. It's about stories, all of those things. There are more broke creators on Instagram right now than I think anyone could ever imagine, right? All you see when you go on Instagram, and I'm so glad that is not one of my primary income streams, is people saying, oh, the algorithm, no one sees my stuff. I can't be seen, no one can find me, whatever the case. Here's the deal, right? All that short form content is amazing for getting eyeballs. It's amazing for getting people to discover you or, to get people's attention. But your long form content is what is going to convert customers. So you have to look at your strategy and say, How are you changing your marketing plan, your visibility plan, your launch plan, your selling plan to focus on getting people through 7 to 11 hours of content very, very, very quickly to get them in a position to buy? Because people on average in 2024 are going to do that. So it could take them 6 months, 9 months, 12 months to get through that amount of content with you, or it's something that they could do in the first week of finding out about you if you make it really easy for people to come and binge your content. And it's really easy to find places to go through series that you've created. And this is one of the things that we've innovated around, right? When we do a series on something, when I create a content series, we put it on its own landing page so that when we find someone that has an interest in a specific topic, we can literally be like, hey, like go through this series. This is going to be amazing for you. And we're going to speed them through that, which is going to accelerate to the point of sale. Okay. So you need to ask yourself, what do you need to do and what does it look like? Okay. In order to get people through long form content very, very quickly to get someone to be ready to buy. Okay. At launch, right? I talked a little bit about this yesterday. Let me see here. It says, is it a good idea to add the sales form for clients to book a discovery call? Oh, you're saying whether or not to include the investments. I mean, I personally, I want people to know how much it is to work with us. Like we talk openly about our prices all the time. We're very forthcoming about our pricing. I'm not here to convince anyone. If you think it's too much to work with us, we're probably not the right fit. I think in a market like today, one of the biggest risks that you can have is selling someone into your program that really can't afford it. It will be the biggest toxic drain on your organization. And so I would love for people to know your pricing. And I would love for you to only sell people in that really, truly can afford it, that are buying based on value. They're not buying based on price. Okay. Great questions. Okay, we talked about a lot here. We talked about pricing model. We talked about payment plans. We talked about having a daily sales plan. We talked about lead generation tools. Talked about your call booking strategy. Talked about content creation. Launch. Okay. So, for many people that have been launching for years, they had a launch. They dialed that launch in. That launch was kicking ass, doing really well for a long time. And then over the last year and a half, it just, right? And so, you will find that in a market like today, you're going to have to evolve much more quickly, and you're going to have to keep reinventing much more quickly. You can have the same core launch, but you are going to have to go out on a limb and try some different things and be willing to test different models. Not saying that your core launch model won't keep working, your core launch model will keep working, but the way that you do your launch, I explained and gave an example. Our last launch that we just did, and it performed amazing, was all based on templates and giving people templates with specific actions to take in real time during the launch. That was a complete pivot for us in terms of we still were doing a live launch, but the way that we did the live launch and what we did in each of the sessions was very different, right? Now you see we're doing this series, right? Where we're not actually pitching a product or a program. We're just inviting people that want to strategically up level and want significant growth in the third quarter to book a call with our team, right? Just book a call with our team, super easy. So you'll see that we're out there, we're testing all different models and all different things to see like what's playing in the market and what's working well. It's important for you to do that as well. It's not going to be a copy and paste. Definitely highest performing thing, 10x above all else, the live launch, right? You're probably not going to find something that's going to perform at a higher level than the live launch. But what I will say is that you're going to need to innovate. And it's not one size fits all. What works for me may not work for you. So take the model, but be creative and be innovative in the way that you're applying it and what you're doing on your live sessions, how you're positioning your go-to-market, how you're positioning your content, how you're reinventing what you're sharing, all of those things. Okay. Um, yes, people are definitely we've seen a huge shift to that. And it's just because, yeah, exactly. Like people are just over busy, they're burnout. A lot of people just they're doing anything they can do to not have more on their plates right now. So you definitely want to focus on simplifying your products as much as possible. I think one of the most important things is definitely going to be how do you simplify the way that you're offering what you're offering, and how do you address creating psychological safety for them that they're going to be able to take advantage of what you offer. Because when someone's saying that, what they're really saying is, I love what you're offering, but I don't believe that I can actually take advantage of it and get a result. And therefore, it's going to be a waste of money for me. Okay. So you have to kind of ask yourself that so that you can get clear on how are you going to represent. And that's why I said you have to innovate in your programming, and you have to innovate in, are you looking at pulling out pieces of your product? Are you looking at pulling out pieces of your offer and selling them at a lower rate? It's a lower lift for you. It's a lower bar for them. It's a simpler offer that they can get results on right away. These are the kinds of innovations that are going to work right now because of exactly that question that you just asked, Stephanie. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that what's important is to ask all of your top performing clients which elements of your offer they use the most. And if there was only one thing that they could have in the offer, what would it be? And I think that whenever there's an opportunity to do less calls without it diminishing the value of the experience or result for the customer, it's always a great thing. And I definitely think in a market like this, it just makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. We do, but Michelle, it's something that we teach in the Empire Builders program. So definitely chat with our team about that. I think you're already a customer of ours, so they might be able to work something out for you. Okay. Niche specific offers. Niche specific offers. This is something that, when we talked yesterday, we talked about offer differentiation and how important that is in the market. And by the way, I just want to put that back up on the screen again. Congratulations to everyone that booked calls during this session, by the way. It sounds like a lot of you are already booking calls. The team's telling me lots of calls are coming in. If you haven't booked your strategy session, why not? Don't you want to grow? Let's grow together. Let's grow together. This is what our team at the Business Advisory does all day, every single day. All they do is help people strategize on how to innovate, how to up level, how to reconstruct their go to market strategy to win. Right. And we're doing this real time. We're doing it in my companies. We're doing it with our clients. And it's not a one size fits all. It's not a copy and paste. There's nuance to it. And that's why I offer you the opportunity to connect with them, to chat. I mean, you're going to get value out of this call for free, probably more than other programs that you've paid for. Let's be really, really honest. So definitely, if you haven't done that already, go ahead and do that now. You can do it while we're here. Why not? Do something that you're going to thank yourself for when you go to bed tonight. You're going to be like, you know what? I did something great today. I booked a call with the Business Advisory team, and you're going to get such good value, and you're going to get such good clarity, and it's going to help make such a huge difference for you. Okay. So if you haven't already, go ahead and do that now. Okay. Niche specific offers. I talked about this yesterday. We talked about the importance of making sure that in the market you're seen as a specialist, not a generalist, right? Super, super key. Way more important in a mature market because they're trying to differentiate between you and everybody else. They're trying to figure out, like, what's your thing? Right. And so it's even deeper than it would have been a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, because market saturation is at an all-time high, but market saturation is going to continue. Right. It's not going to stop where it is. It's going to continue. So the perceived value of a specialist always higher than the perceived value of a generalist. Really look at your market and say, what is that blue ocean of segmentation that I've never called out before? And the easiest way to do this is go look at your 10 or 15 best performing customers. Okay, do this right now. Look at your 10 or 15 best performing customers that are getting the absolute best results in your program, And what are the specifics of, yes, they all came to you for this, but if we were to go even a layer deeper, what do they have in common? Start creating content, start emailing your list, start advertising, start putting specific things out there that call out that segment where it's this plus this, because then they're going to say, oh, you specialize in helping people like me. You're not just a generalist that can help people like me. You're a specialist that knows really, really well how to help people like me in a better way than anyone else and in your space can. Two completely different things, right? So think about niche specific. Dynamic of delivery, right? And I thought Stephanie asked a really good question there. Absolutely, wherever and whenever you can simplify delivery is huge. People are definitely looking for less commitments, less Zoom calls, less things they have to show up for, less burdens, right? They want customization and they want convenience. Write that down. They want customization and they want convenience. Okay. They want less commitments. They want less busyness. They want less Zoom. They want less times on the calendar. Okay. And so, absolutely, any place or way that you can simplify, where it doesn't take away from the value of the product and it doesn't take away from the result that people are able to achieve, look to do that. And if you can't do that within your existing program because people are really committed to things being the way that they are, and if you feel like you're going to lose customers and it's going to be a whole thing, then I would definitely look at, can you pull out and sell a simplified version of that? And you may need to start just a new cohort that sells a simplified version of that. You're probably going to have, a lot more ease with that. Tammy said, it's important to launch a flagship program before launching a feeder in today's market. I'm going into my first launch. Tammy, the answer is it depends. It depends. It really, really does. I think that the relationship between the flagship and feeder is a really important one. And I think both of those play a key role in the way that you're building. I think for you, if your feeder is really central to what you do and gives a good, immediate kind of taste of the brand, and it gives a good positioning, and you think that you can have a strong upsell to the next level, then I may go to market with the feeder. It's not a one size fits all. I typically like the flagship to go first. But I think in where we are right now, I think that you may, in your first launch, actually do better starting with your feeder. Yeah. Great questions. Great questions. So we talked about dynamic of delivery. Where can you simplify? Where can you customize? Where can you create more convenience? People want less commitment and more convenience. Write that down in your notes. It will serve you well. You will make a lot more money. Where can you customize? Where can you simplify? Where can you create more convenience for your buyers? And finally, team restructures, right? For a lot of people, the team that you need in a growth market is going to look really different than the team that you're going to need in a mature market. You're going to need a lot more focus on renewals, referrals, upsells, reactivations in this market. And you need a lot more of your overall workforce. A lot more of your overall workforce needs to shift into customer acquisition and sales overall, than what is required in a growth market. In a growth market, the man hours needed to acquire customers are far less than in a mature market where the man hours needed to acquire customers are much more. So you may need to take resources in your business that were once on the back end and shift them into the front end. You may need to shift and make almost everyone on your team a hybrid in some way, contributing to the revenue of the company. And if you have a lot of people on your team or in your organization that can't contribute to revenue or aren't willing to contribute to revenue, you probably are going to have to restructure completely and eliminate a lot of those people, because the amount of man hours, time, and energy that will be needed to produce the same amount of customer acquisitions that you did 6 months or a year ago, that has duplicated and multiplied because of the market slowing, because of the economic contraction, because the market maturity, because of consumer mentality. And so you're going to have to shift a lot of your resourcing into customer acquisition and customer conversion. And so either one of two things needs to happen with the people that you have on your team. Either they need to shift with you because they understand this is the only way that the business is going to sustain, or they need to go away if they're not able or they're not willing to contribute in that way, because it's going to be very, very hard for you to sustain the infrastructure and cost of the business if you don't have that additional resourcing shifted into the front end to grow revenue. Okay. So there isn't a single area of the business that you should not be thinking about reinventing, up leveling, reshaping as we move into this market, because we're going to continue in these type of market conditions for quite a while. Okay. And I said this before, and I'll say this again. You can just be in reaction mode to all of this, and it's just going to be a constant struggle, and you're just constantly trying to figure out how to react and catch up and keep up. Or you can shift into really embracing, like, oh, okay, like these are the market conditions, this is where we are, how do I align my entire company and my entire strategy to be able to capitalize on it instead? These are two different modes of existence, I can tell you. Two completely different modes of existence. And even looking at my own portfolio, I can look at different companies in my portfolio that are at different stages of adoption, of aligning their strategy with current market conditions. And the businesses that are fully aligned with the market conditions of today are exploding. They're having amazing growth. And the businesses that are still getting caught up on adjusting their strategy, they're still kind of like, bat 1 foot, 2 foot, right? And so you can do this. You will do this. The opportunity is endless. There's going to be so many people that you see exiting the market and leaving the market, which means there's going to be massive opportunity everywhere for you. The world needs that very special thing that only you can bring to it. And that's why you owe it to yourself to go through the health check. You owe it to yourself to book a strategy call with the team. You owe it to yourself to really look at each of these components that we talked about over the last couple of days and say, where can I make strategic and proactive decisions in my business to make my strategy align with where the market is and where it's going versus where it was and how it was. And I think this is the biggest kind of fork in the road moment that we're having right now in the online world. Is there's the people that are aligning and getting set for the future. And then there's the people that they're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. They're not going to do it. And that's why we're seeing so many businesses go out of business. And there's no reason that that has to be any of you. Okay. So complete the 2024 business health check. It's going to give you great clarity and direction. You're going to get custom feedback from the team on what to do next. And if you are interested in learning more about how the business advisory helps people to create exponential growth in their business, and you want help taking some of the things that we've been talking about and putting them in place in your business, you can book a call absolutely for free. Why not? You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. So thank you so much to everyone that brought up questions on the conversation today. The team is going to be coming in with an amazing live session at 12 p.m. tomorrow. So if you want to take everything that we've been working on, pull it together and kind of look at how the next steps are going to look for your business, make sure you're here with us live tomorrow. But before we leave, I want you to go ahead and take the time to get your call booked. That 1, 2, or 3 things that you take from that call can be the game changer for your business in the third quarter. And it doesn't need to be hard. You just need to use your critical thinking, do some innovation, make some empowered decisions to adjust your strategy to align so that you can win in the market. Okay. So thanks everybody for joining us today. It was great to have you. Congrats to everyone who booked your strategy calls with the team. We're looking forward to helping you up level your strategy, and we'll see you back here at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks everybody.